Okay, right. Morning, everybody. I'm not going to keep you long. There are many presentations to follow. So this is just a repeat of what I recently did at the Teaching and Learning with Technology. So those who were there can ignore me now. Real estate, our program has been offered at CPUT since 2006, full-time, part-time and block release. And then since 2017, the distance learning replaced the block release. And obviously we work on Blackboard, and we are fully online with our course. Just the tools and technologies that we're using in this course. Our layout, we try to keep our layout similar for all the different subjects. We've got 13 subjects, and I try to assist my lecturers that they all use a similar layout, so that when the students log into a subject, they are familiar with the layout. Okay, so today I'm just going to look at tests and exams, not the rest of the tools and technologies, and specifically Lockdown Browser. So tests and exams, in that file, in that folder, we create a folder for the students with Respondus Lockdown Browser. So Lockdown Browser is a specific browser that students log into tests and exams. It locks them into the system so that they cannot use any other websites or technologies or whatever. It logs them in, and then Monitor gets added to that, where it's in non-proctored environments where a camera actually physically watches the student. But I've got a little what do we call it, a little download, a little video that explains the whole process much better than I can. It's very important, we let our students from the beginning of the year, we give them little trial tests, quizzes, etc., to get them used to the system. So we don't hit them with a big exam at the end of the year and that they panic. So from the beginning of the year, we take them through trial tests and quizzes to get them used to the system. But still, at the end of the year, one or two would panic and crash, and we were quite surprised that some of them said to us, so we're going through Lockdown Browser like we used to through the whole year. Yes. That is why we made you used to Lockdown Browser from the beginning. Okay, so we're going to play. I'll play you the video.
Watching, probably required to use Respondus Lockdown Browser for an online exam. Lockdown Browser is a different kind of browser. While taking an exam, you can't print, use other applications, visit other websites, you can't even search the internet for answers. I know, it takes all the fun out of online tests. But here's the good thing, your classmates can't do those things either, so it's just your brain against their brain. A level playing field. Your instructor will provide a link for downloading and installing Lockdown Browser. When you start it, Lockdown Browser might warn you that certain applications have to be shut down before you continue, like screen capture programs, instant messaging, Skype, pretty much anything that lets you communicate with the outside world. You can close those applications yourself or let Lockdown Browser do it for you. The browser will then go to the login page for your online course. Log in like you normally do and locate the exam that requires Lockdown Browser. Remember, after the exam starts, you won't be able to do other things on your computer until you finish the exam. When you're done, just exit Lockdown Browser and you'll be all set. Your instructor might also require you to use a webcam with Lockdown Browser. This part is sometimes called Respondus Monitor, but just think of it as a webcam for Lockdown Browser. The nice thing about the webcam feature is that it lets you take exams from the comfort of your own home, or from the other side of the world. Plus, you can take exams at any time of the day or night. The webcam will record what happens during the exam, and the instructor can review it afterward. So, if an exam requires you to use Lockdown Browser and a webcam, just start Lockdown Browser and locate the exam. Before the exam starts, you'll be guided through a check to make sure your webcam is running properly. Additional steps might also be required by your instructor, such as showing your ID or taking a video of your surrounding area. Once the exam starts, don't give the webcam another thought. Just focus on that test you stayed up all night studying for. When the exam is finished and you submit it for grading, the webcam will shut off automatically. That's pretty much it. Now, take a deep breath and good luck.
Right. Yes, okay, so that's Responders, Lockdown Browser and Monitor. The students get instructions for how to install Lockdown Browser in the beginning of the year.
Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to take your practice test and how you can get started on a test with Respondus. I have to...
Okay. Thanks, Danella. Okay, so we give them instructions how to install, and actually it works fairly well. There are a couple of little glitches. We've had a couple of little glitches, but generally it works pretty well. We also, this is just how you, as a lecturer, also goes and sets your certain tests you set with Lockdown Browser, others with Lockdown Browser and Monitor, others you can, the revision tests I just let them do without any without that procedure. I give them lots of revision tests, but their quizzes and their tests and the exams they do with Lockdown Browser and Monitor. But you can go into your settings and you set the different tests and exams. So a trial test is very important, that before every quiz or test or exam I insist that they actually go and do a trial test just to test that the equipment works again, because sometimes it kicks out and then in the morning they go and sit down for their exam and suddenly it doesn't work. So I always say, please, just the day before, just go and do the trial test to test your equipment, that your webcam works and everything works, and if there's a problem then contact us and we can see how we can assist. Usually 90% of the time it is log out of everything and log in again, reinstall Lockdown Browser, and actually 95% of the time it works. Sometimes there's a problem where the Wi-Fi simply isn't strong enough, or where they do it at work, the security settings doesn't allow them to access Lockdown Browser. So then we have to make another plan. But test it the day before so you can see whether we have to make another plan. End of the year, there's always the alternative to write the exam in a venue. I've had students where they were sitting trying, and it didn't work. And I say, how far are you from a venue? No, an hour. And I phone the invigilator. I say, there's a student on her way. Just wait for her. She's coming to actually do it at the venue. Nothing worked for her today, so she's on her way. So we make a plan. Right, so we've got revision tests and we've got trial tests, and while they're writing you can also see in the grade center those little blue little clocks. That is the most welcoming sight when you're sitting, because I supervise every test and exam and I'm sitting there, and if there's a CPT problem and they can't log in, then the phone starts ringing, and I've always got an extra phone with a number that if there's anything going wrong they can phone me directly and I can check. And the most welcoming thing is that silence when you can see your test appearing and then there's silence, and then suddenly you see the little blue clocks appearing, and when those blue clocks appearing it's like, oh, the tension goes off you, because then you can see everything is right on your side. And then about half an hour later you get 1 or 2 phone calls where there's a student with a specific problem, and that is usually easy to sort out. But if it's a CPUT problem where there's a link that they can't access, it is an absolute nightmare. You get 10 years older in 10 minutes. Okay, so when they finish writing and it gets submitted, shortly afterwards you can go and review the videos. And then there are certain videos, there are certain incidents which are flagged. For example, 2 heads in a screen, or a student disappearing, or a student talking. And it flags those incidents, and then you go and review those videos, and then you realize that some of these students did not believe you that there was a camera watching them. And you are literally, you go slack-jawed where you see, but they are actually sitting there discussing the questions with another student. Okay, yes, yes, wine farm. Okay, yeah, wine farm, a rooibos farm. Okay, which valuation method? Okay, now, yeah, I think that valuation method. And you sit there, you cannot believe that they never believed that we actually go and review the video. So we've got 4 students now that actually all work for one of our banks. And there are 4 students that we are busy going through the process now of actually, yeah. So that is the lecturer whose subject it was specifically. She was absolutely devastated because she's very Monique is very dedicated to her students. She goes the extra mile, and she could not believe that the students would actually do this. And when after she wrote the letter to say this is what we're going to do and there's a procedure to follow, and she just said that this was one of the most terrible things I've ever done. I'm so stressed about it. So the students, of course, to the last minute, they absolutely denied. But the nice thing about these videos, it's not your word against the student's word. I mean, here's the video. We've got the recording. What is there to,
The
yeah.
recording is done automatically.
It's automatically.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the system,
Yeah.
lockdown browser does that for you.
It does it for you.
And it also flags it for you.
Flags it for you. So you've got, certain...
So those ones were flagged.
Yeah, those ones are flagged. So you don't have time to go and sit through all of them. But what we are going to do from next year onwards, because we don't go and review the quizzes and the this and the that, so we just review the exams. But from next year, we are thinking of actually appointing an intern to, after every quiz and even small test, to actually go and sit and watch all the flagged incidents, so that we, from the beginning of the year, that they are aware that that we are watching them. Because I think this year, it's our first, it was our second year actually. And the students who were caught now, they were first year, they were 2018 intake. Okay, so it goes both ways. We should alert them that we can actually do this. Okay,
What does the system flag? What does he see as flag?
okay. Here it tells you what it flags. It tells you if you there are two heads for it. You can't quite see it, but if there are 2 heads in a or if a student disappears for too long, or if there's we also need to train them. If you are sitting there behind a window where there's light coming in, we can't see your face, so it flags it for, they can't identify the face. Sound, it picks up sound. So that's how we picked up this one where there were actually 3 students discussing this question paper. It's like absolutely flabbergasted. So it tells you also, if you go into the lockdown browser, the responders things, it will tell you what it flags and how it, there's a whole big explanation of what it flags and what is allowed. Here she leaves the screen, there she turns her head away. What we also picked up, there was one student who absolutely she committed a plagiarism. It was verbatim. The script, her notes was verbatim repeated in the exam. And when we looked at her recording, her eyes would just do this, and we could see exactly when her eyes did that and what questions she was busy with. So we just married the 2 and created a report to say you cheated on that question, your eyes were moving there and you were busy there, and that was the time. So it's actually scarily correct, but it's very time consuming to the lecturer that actually put this together. He's on a mission, Dennis. He was on a mission. He said, I cannot allow this to happen. And he nailed that student with every question. But it took him hours to put that together. Yeah. Okay, so, right. There are instructor resources. It's very good. Well, we're still busy building this ship while it's sailing. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for Saritas? Yes. I'm going to put these slides into our folder and put a link from our handout to the slides. It's all in one Google Drive folder, all our presentations, everything that we use. But I link from the presentation from the handout into the presentation so you can find it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what's really interesting is that a lot of you participants prefer doing the online exam than face-to-face.
But perhaps because they think they can cheat. No, sorry. You're not recording that, huh?
So if you have a question.
With regards to installation of lockdown browser, we also had lockdown browser installed on all our computers by a year ago. We also had that issue. So I want to know if you install it in a single time and with the students have administrative rights to install it?
No, we send them a link. There's a link posted on each subject, and there's a whole little folder which gives them the link, and then it gives them instructions and even this little video and yeah. So, but some of them don't read the instructions, and then they go and try and upload our instructor link, and then it's then Saki gets a phone call in Poland to I'm struggling with this link, so yeah. So there's a little file in each subject.
Any other questions? Do you know how to do these things? How to embed links into a Google document? So this is a Google slideshow, yeah, that Sarita has shared with me, and I have just moved the Google slideshow into our folder for this workshop. Yeah, we've got a folder that I've called this is our folder on Google Drive. Yeah, and there's everything that we have been working on is in that folder.
You shared the whole folder with us.
I've not shared the whole folder. What I've shared, I can. Yeah, I've shared this document with you, which is our handout. Yeah, I've shared this. So there's a big button here, share, and I've sent you this link. Yeah, this is the link that I've sent you by email. So when you click on that link, and you've got editing right, you can see I can control the rights I give you. I gave you editing rights, so you can type into this document, all of you.
But if we are connected with you already, it just pops up on our drive anyway.
If I added you, yes. If you were added like as a person, because I've shared it with you anonymously, I've just given you the link, but I could add you here, Hanley, if I have your Gmail address. This one, yeah? So if I add you directly, then whatever changes you make, I will see your name there. I can see that it was you. Otherwise, it would just be anonymous. Hi, Bronwyn, welcome. But what I wanted to show you is, so same with here, with the presentation that Sarita just gave us, which is already in that folder. But I can get the link, copy the link, yeah? And then in this handout, the way I've done this with my blended learning presentation, yeah? So day 3, we had Sarita's presentation on online exams, and I can just create a link here. Yeah, so I've added a link. So if you click on this, it takes you straight to the presentation. Yeah, it's really, Google Doc is a really nice way of building content as you move along. You know, this document we have been working. So here, so you just click on the word, add a link, and then I just paste the link that I've copied first. Yeah? Anytime you tell me you need a course on Google Docs. I love it because it's a really, you saw I changed the program as we went on. Like now it's 10 o'clock and I'm giving you time now to continue working on presentations. Yeah, so then after tea we start with the presentations. Yeah?
I mean, this is another form of working with students.
Together, exactly. I use this a lot for giving feedback on assessment, but in a feed-forward way. So say they are building up a portfolio. They write a part of the portfolio, say one assignment, one task, give feedback, and they can respond to the feedback, they can update the information, so you continue working on the same document, which then builds up to the final portfolio at the end, for example. And you can embed pictures, embed links, you can share it with other people.
It's just an opinion maybe, which can be very useful.
And what is happening now? We are looking at what's going to change and what's going to remain unchanged in education. But if you look at the most of the changes which are taking place, there's a lot of investment in making life even more difficult for students than making it easy.
Okay.
Because to me, if you can actually set an examination where students can discuss, if you redesign your course in such a way that it takes away the fear of learning.
Yes.
The fear of learning is examination.
Yes.
And we come closer to the learners. We want to find what is it that we have assisted them to prepare themselves in.
Yes.
Because they move away from preparing students for the future. Students must be assisted to prepare themselves for the future. Because if you prepare them,
Yes.
they are not going to operate in the future because the future is constantly changing.
I agree.
And one thing which is, let's say, let me use the word disgusting in
Yes.
is that education tries to grasp almost all technology which is around and try to force it within the pedagogy and all those stuff. And I thought the courses, if we were to do that one, the courses will be redesigned in such a way that learners must benefit. Because if we do not know how learners use technology, no matter how much we try, the copying part of it, you will never beat. But if they want to copy, why don't you set an examination which is going to allow them to say, why will they copy? What is it that they've learned from their copy? Because as long as the curriculum is so stiff, the curriculum is going that side. We are not bridging the gap between technology and the pedagogy. It's even widening. Because now we are monitoring students using the cameras. And at the end of the day, like in China now, we have computers which can say if the temperature rises around here, it can lock the student out as we try to copy or cheat.
Yeah. I agree totally. I think exams are on the way out. I think as long as, students can cheat, it means we haven't set up the exams properly. We haven't asked the questions in a way that allows them to actually bring themselves in. So I agree totally. I think exams are completely, in most of the cases, or let me say in many cases, we examine because that's what we do and not because that's actually what students need. Right?
I also agree. The thing is, we teach in a traditional way. We have been teaching, I wouldn't say new, but in general, people teach in a specific way, and it's very much teacher-centered, and it's around, I have the knowledge, and I'm going to give the knowledge to you, and then I'm going to test that knowledge, whether you understand my understandings in an exam. But with blended learning, we then try and teach more innovatively. We think about different ways in which our students learn, but then there's a tendency to have to adhere to administrative issues, and then we still want to assess in a different way. I would argue that we need to assess in a different way, just like we are now also teaching in a different way.
I have these conversations all the time. People create all these beautiful continuous assessment activities, really innovative stuff, and then it's an exam. And I'm like, why? You're already building up this portfolio for students. They're doing all these activities. The sum of that could be your final summative assessment.
Sorry.
I wanted to mention I don't know this year, but last year in electrical engineering, I know they had a project that they gave the students in the beginning of the semester, and it was a process, and they were evaluating throughout the year or the semester, and at the end of the semester, they had to do a presentation and submit what they were model. And it was a fantastic way of assessment. They also did it in a group, because in preparing the students for the working world, you are never going to be doing things alone. You are going to be part of a team. So the feedback that they got from the students were amazing. The students actually said they learned more doing that as opposed to having to give you back the knowledge that you gave them.
You had a
that
similar
kind of
example,
thing.
isn't it?
The seminar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about
yes.
that?
Yeah, so someone mentioned, and it's in line what this Jen said. We need to look at what kind of student are we giving, or what kind of student do we graduate? And effectively, CPUT, and it's part of our Vision 2020 and Vision 2030, we want to produce a student who can do something for himself by himself, without needing any assistance, and I just thought that was very profound.
If I can just, sorry, okay, and just get back to the lockdown browser. One of the most important things of lockdown browser is that you can identify the student, because how do you know this is the student? So I personally, my exams are all open book, so I don't catch them with plagiarism or this or that or whatever, because I say to them from the beginning, it's open book, and I want an I set a multiple choice and then more application type. Give me an example of or discuss something, but we need to identify the student, because we don't even meet them. So it could actually end up with a distance course that you graduate the student not
having done the work.
Or not having done the work. So we need to. So they have to put up their student or identification. A photograph gets taken. So it's tricky. It's tricky with distance. So the lockdown browser and monitor helps.
Barbara?
Yeah, sorry, just feeding into this. I mean, yesterday we talked briefly about graded attributes. And graded attributes really are speaking to authentic assessment, authentic learning, authentic assessment. And the types of portfolios that you were talking about, Saritas, case studies and discussions and things like that. That's stuff you can't actually get out of a book. It's authentic learning. So we need to, even if it's an exam format, it can still be authentic. But we just need to think about how do we assess authentically. And if it's an exam that is really just testing the acquisition, with our Renard's first way of learning, the rote learning and remembering stuff, then we're actually not preparing students for anything, and no learning is happening in that space at all.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that when we think of assessments, the formative assessments are very important, because it's part of the process of teaching and learning. We are supposed to be identifying through the assessment if there's any misconceptions